Before we get started with this episode, we have a major favor to ask you.
If you could subscribe, like, and comment, especially with somebody that you'd love to see on the show, we would really appreciate that, and it would be amazing.
This helps us more than you know. In fact, once we hit 1,000 subscribers, and that is our goal, we are going to choose 2 of you to come to our very first Shoreline Show meetup with our team and our past guest.
And if you want more of the Shoreline Show, you can get on us on all the major audio podcast platforms.
Now, let's get on to the next episode. What projects are you working on right now?
Ooh. Well, I have, my middle son owns 2 Jets Pizzas in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm helping him get that straightened out. We brought 2 stores that were failing. Okay. And we're turning them around. Yeah. And this turnaround is it's taking a lot harder. 2 years ago, we did the same thing with a Jets Pizza in Knoxville. Okay. That store turned around fast. It was still during COVID, so there was limited choices. Yeah. And then he sold that. These are his stores. I'm not involved, but I'm the leader. Yeah. I'm the father. I'm the leader. I gotta make sure this goes. So these are really a struggle for us. So this project has to get leveled off or secure or making money, right? First we got, they gotta pay their own way. So once that gets going, my youngest son, he's ready to get into the business. So we're gonna find.
How old is he?
20.
Okay.
Nice.
And he's been I always say I'm trying to teach him the right way, which is from the ground up.
Nice. Yeah.
Which you don't get to do a lot with, my middle son, he went to college and so he didn't do a lot of time working, but once he got out of college, we had some opportunity. But my younger one, he's learning from the ground up.
Which actually could be a blessing as well. It
is a blessing.
You can actually learn a lot from people that just a blank slate.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing about entrepreneurship, and that's the whole thing is that, what does that even mean from the ground up, right? Or because, we think, well, I'm going to buy the business. And there's different kinds of entrepreneurship. You can go buy a business and then, it runs and you pay people and then you just come in and do the book work or you do something. But that's not how it is like in these small businesses. The friends I know who own the Jimmy John's and Jets Pizza, Tropical Smoothies, certainly restaurant business. Mm-hmm. It's hard. You don't just buy it and say, okay, I'm going to have you run it. We're going to pay you X amount of money and you're going to run it. Oh, that sounds great.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah. That's not how it works. Yeah. Now, you can get to that point, but, it's all, like for me, if you're not starting with like this big bankroll, you got to start somewhere, and that means from the ground up.
Yep. Yeah, okay? Which means that you are making pizzas.
You are, you are making pizzas. Mm-hmm. You are the advertising specialist. Yep. You are
the sweeper.
Accountant. You are you are doing cleaning the toilets, right? Yes. You are. Yes. And that's where I'm teaching my youngest son.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Well,
those are my projects.
I think one of the things that make greatness is you look at like a lot of billionaires and people that have businesses and millionaires. You look at the data, and most of them go broke. After not the first generation. Yeah. The first generation actually is the one that because what you have is that's like, I have to sweep floors, I have to do this, but it's hard to get that second generation. I'm not saying it is for I'm not speaking for your family at all, but I'm saying it's hard to get that second generation to say no, you have to clean toilets. Right. So I even actually brought this up to our church as I was like, students that go through like 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and then they graduate from through the ministry, right? I'm like, how you, and they're like, now I'm ready to become a leader. I propose ideas. Let's start having them clean toilets.
Right. Yeah.
I think cleaning bathrooms, and I know it sounds, because nobody wants to do it,
right.
is a way to break people in and saying, this is what a leader actually is.
Right.
And if you can clean toilets, then we can start to talk about the other things. But if you can't even clean toilets, how do I get you to do anything else?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that, and so I can see it in my own kids. And I see it in my own kids, and I'm like, okay, well, the things I have to do that they don't have to do, which is amazing. Right. But you got to teach them those lessons somehow. And that's why I'm a firm believer in mission trips. You go over and you go to mission trips, and I think that it's organically, without having them do all crazy stuff, organically they can experience some of that stuff to say, okay, it means being a servant. That's what ultimately it means.
Yeah. Well, that's right where I'm working with my youngest son, because servant is hard.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's hard to be a good husband or a good wife. I mean, because if you love somebody, you serve. I mean, and I love my business. I love my employees. I mean, I love my customers. You can't be successful in business if you're not serving somebody. Right. I mean, I'm serving my employees or my customers. Right. That's what I do every day.
Exactly.
Or my business. I have a awesome little leadership folder I put together over the years, and I explain this to my managers, and I believe this is true, and it could be in almost any business. But if you ask, you want to be inside of a owner operator's head, well, here's what it is. I think about three things constantly and always, and there's no particular order. It's the customer, it's the employee, and it's the business itself. I'm making decisions best for the business sometimes, and that trumps anything. That's going to trump my customer. That's going to trump my employee, because the business has to come first. But equally...
Because it has to be healthy.
Because it has to be healthy. Because without the healthy business, there's no customer service.
There's no customer
and there's nobody I can hire.
Exactly.
Okay, so my mind's also equally is on my employees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because on a Friday night, there's 12 insiders working and 4 drivers. If there was only 3 people, my business would be a lot easier. I can, it's 3 people. Yeah. I could be one of them. It'd be easy. But I need 12 people on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And 9 on Sunday.
And if 2 of them call in sick.
Right. Well, or you can't, what do I say? I'm going to hire you. You work every Friday and Saturday. You can't do that.
No.
So I have a lot of employees, and we rotate. We're flexible. So I have to care about those employees. Same point, we have to care about the customer. See, so those 3 things, there's one's not more important than the other, but they're constant and always.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of just even like your household. It doesn't mean that anybody's more important or any of it, but there is an order that you have to keep that order, because if you don't keep the order, then there's no way the system works.
You know what? You said the word order. That might have been the word we could interchange somewhere when we were talking. Like when we talked about the values before. It's like, nobody wants order.
Yeah.
No.
Or order has become wrong somehow now.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it does. It's because everybody wants to think that they're the top G, right? And it's not always the case.
Or they say, why is the order you believe in right? Like what? I don't know, because it's order. It's just order.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the things that we find in franchising is some of the best franchisees, we go to a lot of these franchise conventions and things like that, and some of the best franchisees are ones that have ex-military experience. So you have Jets Pizza, and they're pushing down their system, and they know their system to work. But if you don't use the system, then and you don't use it how it is, or they pick and choose how to use the system, then it doesn't work. But if you use the system for exactly what it's supposed to be used for, it should work. because they wouldn't be doing what they're doing if it doesn't work, right?
Yep.
Otherwise, you just fold up shop and, you know.
No, that was the good thing about the franchise. Why was I scared to move over here? Yeah. I mean, you know, my wife trusts me. If you ever talk to her, she said, well, I trust it. You know, she knows I'm going to take care of her and my family. Yeah. It's not a question. But we didn't know anybody. But being part of a franchise, because I get asked that a lot, or some people, I don't want to be a franchise and pay the fees.
Yeah, exactly. Why didn't you open up Brett Cecchini pizza place?
Okay, I would tell you that, and that's why I believe in franchises. Now, good, bad. So it's like you said, what's your opinion on the UAW? Oh, it is what it is. Well, I'll tell you my opinion on franchise. It is what it is too. Here's the deal. I could work in my strengths, which for me was leading people and kind of having fun, right? And promote. Now, my strength was not cooking up a recipe for pizza. You know, my strength wasn't setting up all the legal fees to have the business and all this stuff. So for me, operating in a franchise is great. I would do it again. I would do a City to Shore.
I would love that.
Because the franchise sets up the structure.
Yes.
I get to come in. There's enough what I have to do just making the pizzas, all the employees, all the customers, the building, and all that stuff. So I don't want to set up. I don't. I would franchise over and over and over again. I like it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you're not putting in the work.
No.
It just
you're
means
not.
that
what it is you are not recreating the wheel.
Right.
The wheel is already there.
Yeah.
And you already know that the wheel is perfectly round and the tire pressure is right and it's balanced, and you're just coming in and you're riding that wheel.
Right.
Yeah.
And because you know it works.
Right.
And you're working it.
So I had confidence in the product. Yeah. That's where, listen, when I was scared, I was scared. But I had full confidence in Jet's Pizza.
Right.
I know the quality. And now I even have more confidence. You know, I mean, the quality, what we do, all I had to do was carry it out. I had to follow the order. You know what I mean? I had to follow those values. And I knew I could do that.
Right.
And I did.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, but I see you can walk into other restaurants, you know, when they ain't following the order.
Oh,
Big time.
You know that. Just from customer service.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why when you started franchising, excuse me, and I knew you were gonna, you know, but started franchising, I mean, I thought this is great, you know. That's why we said earlier, I mean, if you're a real estate agent, you are kind of you're an entrepreneur, right? Aren't you? You are your own.
Your own business. Yep.
Every one of our real estate agents are 1099 employees, which they're working under the umbrella of the broker. So they're almost like their own mini franchises. Really?
Yeah. I mean,
each one of them is a mini franchise underneath their broker. And then you have City to Shore national franchise, which is the umbrella over all of the brokers, the broker owners. Yeah.
See, that's what so weird to me. Like when you do, you know, I know you guys will have conventions and you'll, you know, try to recruit, you know, new people, right? I mean, you want. Yeah. I don't know why people aren't running to be a real estate agent.
See,
but it's the same. Are they scared? They're scared. You know, I could see why maybe I don't want to run, you know, a Jet's Pizza or Jimmy John's or maybe something. I don't know. I mean, just there's cost. There's such a big cost involved too with starting a restaurant or starting another business. And now, well, I got to manage people. Some people are so scared to manage people. They are. I mean, they don't. But that's it. And you just stay scared and you never do nothing. But I don't know. I mean, in a real estate, can't you at least count on, and I don't know much about, but at least you can count on yourself. Are people, that's where I want to tell people, count on yourself.
Right.
I think the reason people aren't running to real estate is because people don't believe in themselves. Yeah. I think if you truly believed in, and then when they get in the business, so you're a real estate agent. So there's a lot of people that get their real estate license and that's all they do. And then there's people that say, okay, I'm partnering with City to Shore. And then that's still all they do is they just got their real estate license. But then you got these individuals that say, I got my real estate license, and I'm going to use City to Shore for everything that it has.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take advantage
the order, the systems, the tools.
100%. I'm gonna use it for everything they got. I'm gonna dive into every program. I'm gonna go to the education. I'm gonna go to every meeting. I'm gonna go to these conventions. Prove myself.
Yes.
So, because really, all we can offer people to grow people is ultimately, you can sit there and say, but it's knowing that you have a team and system behind you that actually cares about you.
Right.
And I think that's a thing that's so unique about what we do is you have a gang of people. I can't promise anybody that's watching this, hey, you can come on and you're going to be a successful real estate agent, because that is not the case.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that you're going to have all the systems, the tools. We're going to make sure we have your back. If you have somebody, if you have a question at 10 o'clock at night, you're going to have people here that care about you.
Yeah.
And that's all. But does that mean, and those people that take advantage of that
are the ones
are going to win.
And we see it over and over.
I'm sure.
Yeah. And like, I'm sure at the franchise level at Jets, they probably have the same statistics that we have, because as brokers, I see it as a broker, because Steve and I own 3 of the locations, and Rennie has his, and there's a bunch of other ones as well. But these statistics are pretty much the same no matter what brokerage you look at. You take all of your real estate agents, and you're always going to have 20% of them are your top performers. And then you're going to have 60% of your agents in the middle that are they're good agents. They do a good business, but they're not top producers. They're making a living. They're making a good living, but not like a bazillion dollars a year. And then your other 20% they fall into one of two categories. Either they're brand new and they just got into the business and they haven't worked their way out of that
They're working into it, yeah.
Or they've been in the business and they just are stuck and they don't take advantage of anything, and they just sit there and do nothing.
And some of them don't care. Like you have some people that say, I'm holding it for my family, or I'm trying to do some real estate transactions for my own, or whatever. Maybe
isn't that? See, this is what I mean. But that is the exact thing, because there's no guarantees anywhere.
No.
Listen, if there's guarantees, 2 stores in Nashville, they would already,
if there was guarantees, you'd buy one in every city.
That's right. There's no guarantees and nothing.
Right.
But I think that's the essence of what drives me, and I think you too. Why some people are okay just doing enough. But and that's okay. That's okay, because really we're taught that. We are taught that from the time we're born. I don't know. To be enough, be safe, be careful. So just to do enough. What pushes that person, whether it's in real estate or the small business owner, to push past that, the hurt, the pain, the loneliness of getting I don't want to even say the top, but getting to the point above average.
That's a good thought. Like, what is that thing that gets that person?
Now, I can tell you, and I listen.
It's different for everybody.
Anytime, any other podcasts, any other guests, any other business owners, even some of your guests, I listen to some of your podcasts. Nothing ever went easy for nobody. I mean,
any of them.
I know it don't go easy for either one of you.
Even the social media influencers that are blowing up, you listen to them and it was a work.
Right. But see, for me, Shelley, it seems a lot of your stories, for me, there was no choice. I mean, this was on me to make this work for my family. And I guess if Jets Pizza didn't work, I'd be doing tile work again. I'd do something, because there was not going to be a failure, because I had a family to support.
That's good.
So, but now what's going to motivate me to keep going, and not get comfortable? Because I fight that every day too, right? I mean, listen, it's fun to be comfortable.
Right.
We want to be comfortable, but you really got to move outside the comfort zone to do more.
So what I'm hearing you say, and I know this to be true for me, is that in order to succeed and get to that upper level or what's next in business is you have to know your why. You have to know your why. And for you, your why was your family, because you weren't going to let your family down.
No.
You needed to have a house to keep them dry and warm. You needed to feed them. You needed to have your kids, supported so they could go to school. You needed to have your wife be able to go to the grocery store and buy food and do all this stuff. So you knew what your why was, because they are all very important to you.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, and it doesn't have to be City Shore agents, this could be anybody in business or life. They don't get out of the rut they're in because they don't know why. They haven't figured out what their why is in life in general.
Right.
Because you'll actually do things that sometimes don't make sense to the world.
Right.
Well, you know why? This is because they're in a rut. But guess what? Their friends in a rut.
Yep.
And their sisters in a rut.
Yep.
And their moms, brothers, uncles in a rut.
Yeah.
And they're surrounded by people in a rut.
That's good. Yeah.
I mean, I get in ruts too.
Yeah, but the
But
best thing to do is get out of that rut as fast as possible.
My job won't let me stay in a rut very long.
No.
Because nobody's feeling sorry for me.
Right.
I can't get up and sleepwalk through the day.
Right.
Or, just, I don't know, go to work or something. I mean, I can't be in a rut.
Well, it's funny because maybe my wife always talk about that too, is I don't think you're a person that will, I'd be curious your take on retirement and things like that. I don't see myself, and I'd be curious if you feel the same way, is if you had free time, I don't think you'll ever have free time. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I think you're the type you'll be like, oh, I'm going to go volunteer for this, or I'm going to go do that, or I'm going to start this. You can be 70 years old, and I can see you being the guy that'd be like, well, you know what? I got some managers that are really killing it with these things. These are going really well. And you know what you're going to do? You're going to pile something on yourself.
Right. We'll say, let's open another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to do something.
I always hear on these podcasts, if you love what you do, it's not really work. And sometimes I never really know how to think about that stuff. But when they're talking about retirement, and I see the other people I know, and my brother-in-law, for example, he keeps doing more and more.
Yeah.
It's not work. This ain't work. I mean,
it's living a life.
This is living.
It's living.
This isn't work.
Going back to the Waltons, the grandpa still worked until he got older.
That's
he still
right.
did stuff.
When you're a farmer, do you stop working?
I just don't know
when.
I know. I just don't understand that whole concept of retirement.
I don't either.
I just don't. I don't get it.
But you know how weird that is? I mean, there's a whole part of the society that thinks we're crazy. What do you mean retirement? And they want to work and get done.
Exactly. It just, I don't know.
I mean,
what would I do?
I know.
I would be bored to death anyways. Yeah.
Well, and it just goes back to living in community, right? If let's say Jets doesn't exist tomorrow, or City to Shore doesn't exist tomorrow, I don't think that's overly a concern for you, because you're just going to do something.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, okay, boys, to your boys, what do we do now? We're going to open popsicle stands. We're going to open whatever. We're going to do something, because that's who we are.
Yeah. I'm trying to teach my family the best I can more about an entrepreneur spirit. I'm glad they're choosing the path, but it's not easy. So now I got to prepare them, for the toughness.
Right.
It's not easy.
No, for sure.
Awesome.
If you were to give any advice to somebody that's let's say they're in their 20s and they're okay, your son, and you're saying there's just the one thing I would say that I would focus in on, if you were the best advice you could give.
Well, you think that'd be easy, considering I'm raising my youngest like this, but now we're talking in an entrepreneur. I can only talk from when I'm a small business owner.
Yep.
Kind of came from very blue collar work, and now you own your own business, and the hard times I've went through, I feel, I don't even feel compared to hearing Shelley's story, okay? But again, we all have a story.
Right.
We all, and that's why we need to share. That's why we need podcasts. People write books because we got a story.
Right.
My advice is, it's going to be hard, and then it's going to be hard and lonely, but you can do it.
Right.
That's good.
I did it.
Yeah.
And if I can do it,
Then you can do it.
anybody can do it.
That's right.
But
It's worth it.
oh, it's worth it. It's worth it because now I have a little more freedom. That's why I can come here whatever time you say.
Yeah.
2 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, I can come here.
Right.
You guys obviously can too. You don't get out of work at 4 o'clock. I know a lot of people, they don't get out till 4 o'clock.
Right.
Okay. But they also didn't have the pain that we've had.
Right.
So, and that's what's tricky about teaching. Now, how do you teach that to a young person? That's what's hard.
Right.
Because they see you now.
Yeah.
They see Rennie now. My kids see me and Mom
They didn't
now.
They didn't
Absolutely.
see you before.
Right.
And see everything that you went through.
They didn't see. I tell them
Yeah.
because now I have to prepare. I have a new saying that I would also tell a young parent now. I spent a lot of time trying to protect my kids in life and instead of trying to prepare them,
That's good.
because there's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you still got young kids, right?
My oldest is 16.
Okay. Yeah,
16,
they're still
14, and 12.
Yeah, and high school is hard. You know, you try
We
to
homeschool.
protect them. Oh, yeah, you homeschool.
Yeah.
Okay, it's still hard. Life's hard.
Yeah,
I know
no,
that.
I definitely agree. Kind of going back to.
But you sound like you do that already when you said you like to flip things. But just think about how, as parents, and we are doing what we're supposed to. We're supposed to protect your family. That's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
But guess what, man? You're going to fast forward. You got a 25-year-old out there in the real world. You're going to look back and go, you got to prepare them more than protect them. And there's a balance.
I see parents, so I see my kids, I see parents that they protect their kids way too much.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've never. Now I think protecting them from major harms that are the obvious ones,
yes, of course.
but things like even conversations. I see some parents will have conversations. We have people over at our house, and you'll see some parents like, "Oh, you guys got to go away. We're having a conversation." I've never said that to my kids. I've taught my kids that you're always welcome at the table, but there's a certain etiquette when you're at the table. If you're going to sit here and have adult conversations, you don't interrupt people. You teach them those things. And now to this day, my kids are very good with people.
Yeah.
And they can sit around. And then someday I wish to have my kids actually on this podcast so you could have people talk to them and interact with them.
Right.
But I think one of the things I see is parents baby their kids so much. And I think part of that in this weird way is they want their parents, they want to be the hero. Because if you raise your kids the way I raise my kids, I'm going to be honest with you, they start to not need you at all.
Right.
And it actually, that kind of gets a little sad, to be honest with you. My kids are so self-sufficient.
Right.
They don't, people are like, oh yeah, I believe I could leave, we were joking, and it's like I could leave my kids alone for a week. Even my 12-year-old daughter, and she will be running the show before I'm done. Seriously, and I'm not even joking.
She's going to be a CEO
No babyish with it. Seriously adult, of how to run things.
Yeah.
But I think that's because, and that's kind of hard as a parent, because I think parents want their kids to look up to them on every level and be like, oh no, my parents are the, and it's like, I don't have that. I think my kids respect and honor me.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're I think they're functioning members of society already at the age of 12. My kids.
That's funny. I use those same words when someone will ask. We raised our 3 kids. They're all. I use those exact words, Rennie. They're functioning members of society, and sometimes that's my job. I did my job.
Right.
Now, cause our kids, they could wake up and choose whatever they want tomorrow.
100%.
My kids could, your girls could. They are adult. They can choose what they want tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I could too, as a husband and as a man. I could wake up tomorrow and make completely different decisions, and I wouldn't be a good husband, or I might not be a good friend or anything. We have those, we have those choices. That's the choice I got. We all do. That's the great about this country.
Right.
Yeah.
Just.
But then when you start to baby your kids, you'll never get that. I call it, I joke around, but I call it like we have a world that we've developed of big babies. I'm not trying to pick on people, but
you're right about that.
We're definitely developing a lot of people that are big babies to the point where I call it the soda pop effect at the store. You go through and you see cherry Coke, cherry 7-Up, cherry Pepsi,
Too many choices.
And that's just cherry. And then you go to the chip aisle. And then if I don't get cherry Coke and I got to get cherry Pepsi, and this is how we're raising our kids. Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. You have to go to cherry Coke today because we only had cherry Pepsi. Right. And then they lose their mind.
Yeah.
And instead of it, and it sounds crazy, but it's like, that's why it's going back to what I said earlier. I'm a big believer of mission trips and saying, what if you don't eat for 3 days? Mm-hmm. What does that look like for you? Like, because that could happen just because we're in a societal thing right now where life is actually pretty good. We actually live very few times in history. We live in a society that we can go and get the things that we have and live in the freedoms that we have. That's not a normal thing. If you take all of history of the world to sit there and say, I can all the way back to I can go get something to eat, I can actually have an opinion, I have the freedom, and we're not all these things. That's not normal.
Yeah.
So we are in that society right now, which is awesome, but that could be taken away tomorrow.
Yeah. And most young people are not going to be prepared for that when it gets taken away.
Yeah. No, I mean, I hope it doesn't get taken away.
I hope it doesn't either, but could.
That was a little deep.
But it won't. God bless America.
Yeah, exactly. Still the superpower of the world, and
I hope.
I think it has. I think, going back to economic nerd I am, I don't think that's going away in America anytime soon. Our structure is still a rock solid structure. I think now we can be a little messy at times, but we're still a great country.
For sure.
So I want to, in the podcast now, I want to say, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And then we are also posting all of our podcasts on the audio platforms as well. So if you are in your car driving and you want to listen, you can do it that way as well through a multitude of different audio platforms. So look for us there as well. So Brett, one of the things that we do on the Shoreline Show is we have a message in a bottle. Awesome. And our last guest left a message there for you.
Okay.
And so if you want to take the bottle and get the message out of there. Hopefully you can get it out easily. Sometimes it takes a little bit.
Sometimes we have to grab something to get it out with.
Yeah, this one, I think I got it.
You got it?
You got it.
My fingers are
Oh, you got it good.
nice.
Perfect.
Okay, let's see. Ooh, it's going to be short. I can see now. Okay. Okay, what is the last book you read that moved you deeply other than the Bible, and what did you learn from it? Last book I read that moved me deeply. The last book I just finished was a book called One More by Ed Milet. You familiar with Ed Milet?
I'm not. No.
You'd like him. You'd like him. One More. He has a good story about his father was an alcoholic and who got sober. I was moved. Ed wrote this book is very simple, easy to understand. I bought it for both of my kids, and I was moved. I can't think of the exact chapter, but it was a simple book, and that's why I wanted I remember taking a screenshot of that chapter and telling my kids, you better be reading the book.
Yeah.
Because it was real.
That's
and
cool.
It talked about, like, even what we're talking about today. You gotta go. Get up and do it. Get up and do it. You can do it. One more. We don't have to know. It's good to know the why at the end. That's great. And that's what a lot of people, here's my why, but how do you get up tomorrow to get to your why? When your why is 5 years out, how do you get up tomorrow? And that's what that chapter, that moved me.
Nice.
So it was a good book. I'm looking
sometimes
for a new book now.
It comes down to you don't know why. Sometimes you know your why, but you're not understanding like why things are happening the way they are and all these things. But you have that drive, that internal drive to say, okay, every single day I still gotta put my big boy pants on. Essentially.
I do. I've done all that. I love all that stuff. You're right. Well, this is how it goes. I mean, we get a plan. You know your why. You get everything set up. But life is still there.
Yeah.
There's problems. There's health problems. There's money problems. There's family problems. It's like it's pounding you.
Yeah.
You're pounded. And then now you got business now 15 years later, now I just have this life problems and business problems. And so you're always being pounded.
Yeah.
And
I heard it once.
One more.
Your feelings, like I think champions are made of. The best way for me to say that is your feelings don't matter. For the most part, you got to get up, and I think we're about feelings these days. What makes me feel, and you're like, it doesn't matter. Especially when I think you recognize that when you had fake kids, you're like, I know I don't feel like doing these things. Before you having kids, I think you're like, oh, it's okay, but now it's like, oh, okay. Right. It's like now that I have kids, it's like, oh, I don't care if I have I have to get up and I have to perform. I have to do these things.
That's the key to entrepreneurship. Your feelings don't matter. I mean, you think we feel like cleaning the toilets?
Seriously.
I mean, I clean. I do most of mine to clean. I mean, because my crew does a wonderful job doing everything else. So it's like I'll take care of that.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So one last thing, if there is somebody out there that is viewing this today and they want to reach out to you, maybe they have a teenager that needs a job, or maybe they're interested in buying a Jets pizza and they want to know what it's like. How do they get a hold of you?
Well, I don't really have anything, unless they don't want my email or something. Email Rennie.
Email Rennie?
I'll get you in touch.
Where's your store?
Find me at work. Okay. The store I own is at 36 in Baldwin in Hudsonville. I service all Hudsonville and Jenison.
Perfect.
And I'm there a lot.
Yeah.
I'm hit or miss. I'm in and out, but I have a wonderful crew. If you want to pass me a note, a card, an envelope, just
and then they'll get it
put
to
my
you.
name on it, and they will get it to me.
Or call the store and say, "Hey, have Brett call me."
Yep, they'll leave me a note.
Awesome. What's the phone number of your store if somebody wants to order pizza tonight?
616-662-9333.
Perfect. Call and order it right now, because then it'll be ready for you to pick up on your way home.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Thanks, Brett. We
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you so
Thanks
much.
for having me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.